What's up, guys? Welcome to Pick the Brain, episode number 5. We got Oklahoma State wrestler, redshirt freshman Victor Voinovich. Victor's two-time Ohio State champ. He wrestled within Who's Number One, All-American multiple times throughout high school. And actually, something I just learned looking at the roster and a little bit of research was that you wrestled for Team Serbia in the Junior Euros
Yeah.
and Junior Worlds. So I completely kind of going off like my script. I want to ask you about that experience because we're seeing that more and more within international wrestling. Russia's been doing it. Russia's been doing it, and then now like the USA is starting to like take that approach. So I want you to talk about your experience training with Team Serbia, and then the World Championships and Euros that you competed at.
Yeah, so basically Stevan Micic wrestles for Serbia, so
Yeah.
they contact me kind of through him and his coaches and stuff. So what was it? A little over a year and a half ago, I got my dual citizenship with Serbia, so I was able to compete for them.
Mm-hmm.
Then last summer, I went to Junior Euros, which was in Germany, and it was a unique experience because like when I got over there, it was me and Chris Perry came with me, and I'm over there. We're the only two people really that speak English, and we're surrounded by all these European foreign wrestlers. Don't really know what we're doing. Got there, and once I got there, it was just I was wrestling people that just wrestled a different style, so I had to get kind of adjust to that, and it was just different formatting of everything, like how you walk out, what you need to do, and then when I went to Worlds, that was a super cool experience because I got to go to Ufa, Russia.
Uh-huh.
It was just awesome to be able to go to another part of the world, see what Russia's about and what it's like there, and it was just super awesome experience getting to wrestle people like that European style versus always wrestling Americans.
Yeah, and so I was gonna like, did they feel like they had to adjust to you? Because obviously your guys' styles are very like our style of the USA is very different. So do you feel like those guys were like trying to learn from you or like trying to adjust to you while you're trying to adjust to them? Like, did you feel that?
Oh, I definitely think so because in America, like we're like hard hand fighters. We like being close, hand fighting hard. Whereas they don't hand fight hard. Like if I would do like a hard club or something on them, they started like freaking out. Like, man, he just punched me. Really, it's just
Yeah.
we do every day here.
Mm-hmm.
And like even in like my worlds match, like that guy kept complaining the whole time and was like he's hitting me, but like I was just wrestling, and
Yeah.
then that just takes a toll on their conditioning because they're not used to it as well.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so I found that very interesting. Didn't know you did that, but anyway, so I want you to talk about your early career and even in kids club too. What age do you feel like you decided you wanted to be great? I guess I'd say like a world champion, an Olympic champion. What age do you feel like you fully committed and decided that's what you wanted?
I would say it was probably more around like fifth, sixth grade, starting to get in middle school because I started wrestling when I was in second grade, 8 years old, and I was not very good when I first started. Like my second year wrestling, I went to six just local tournaments and went 0 and 2, 0 and 2, all of them. And then
Mm-hmm.
after that, it was like, man, like it stinks to lose, so like I want to get better, and I just
Yeah.
started to get better and actually start getting some good wins. Sixth grade was the first time I placed at state, and I was like, man, this is cool. It's like I want to be good at this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I
Go
was
ahead.
getting to high school. It's like I want to be at the next level, watching all these college guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And so go ahead and talk about like, or I know your dad was a very successful wrestler. Am I correct?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was he was good.
So talk about your guys' relationship, like growing up, like your dad probably knew the boundaries that he's not allowed to cross. Like, you have your crazy wrestling dads. Most of the time those guys didn't even wrestle, or maybe they wrestled like
Yeah.
JV in high school. So talk about like the experience your dad had and then how you feel like your guys' relationship played, like how he could balance or like the balance of like being a father and being a coach. I don't know. I don't even know if he was your coach, but I'm just kind of
Yeah.
assuming that he played a big role in your wrestling.
Oh yeah, my dad played a huge role in my wrestling. He coached me from when I first started all the way throughout high school, and even now he'll I still go to him for advice on different things I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
And even like throughout my like youth career and stuff, he was not a crazy wrestling dad at all. Like
Yeah.
if I went 0-2 at a tournament, he was like, "Good job, bud. Like I get it. You did your best. let's just get to work. And he saw the bigger vision ahead for what I wanted and what he thought I could do, seeing me at a young age.
Yeah, and obviously, like with all the success you had the opportunity to surround yourself with like more than just your dad, but other great wrestlers and other great coaches too. And obviously, you got to compete at Flow Wrestling, who's number one, which I think is every high schooler's dream, or at least people who like can see that as a fathomable possibility. Like they want to wrestle Flow, who's number one. So talk about one. I want you to talk about your who's number one experience because I haven't really heard about like that experience as a whole, and then talk about just wrestling on these big stages at in high school and how that's like played a role in helping you be comfortable being on these big stages in college.
Yeah, so to start off with the who's number one thing, it's probably the coolest event I've ever gotten to wrestle in it, and I got to wrestle in it twice, which was awesome. Like
Yeah.
not many people get to do that, so I'm super grateful for the opportunities there. Like one of the coolest things about wrestling in that event is you go there and it's the one and twos at every weight. So like you're getting to get to know and become friends with all the other best kids in the country. Like
Yeah.
kids I see at like college tournaments now, and like I talk to and see how everything's going for them and everything. Like you get there a day before my the second year I did it, my senior year was down in Texas, so like they showed us
Yeah.
flow headquarters and everything, which was super cool. Like there's like fights, or they had like those jujitsu fights, so we all hung out at night watching those.
Yeah.
And my first year was in a Carver, so like we kind of went looking around the Iowa campus and everything with everyone,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just a super cool event to be a part of, being surrounded by all the other great wrestlers, picking their brains as well in the workouts the day before, and then just getting to compete in a super high level match where everyone's watching.
Yeah, and then going off that, just talk about like mentally, like how do you approach these big stage matches? Like, you're gonna be on a big stage within the next, even within the next year. Like you're gonna be on. So how are like how has those experiences affected your preparation for that moment now, like in college?
Yeah, obviously seeing those experiences, who's number one, even tournaments like Fargo, it's
Yeah.
Iron Man, Super 32, like that. It's like you're always going to be up against a tough guy, and you just need to realize, like, something I try to tell myself is like, go out there and wrestle your hardest, do everything you can to win, because in the end, win or lose, like the everyone's gonna love you still. You're gonna wake up the next day, and
Mhm.
life goes on. So when going to these big events, like obviously they're big events and you want to win, but in the end, it's not the end all be all. And there's always
Mhm.
something else to work towards. You're not working towards that result. You're working towards just being the best wrestler you could possibly be.
Uh-huh. And then just moving off that, talking about not only just wrestling, but like within life. Obviously, you're traveling all over the country, meeting all these people who are like very. I mean, if you're a very good coach or a very successful wrestler, you're probably a very mature person or a very like, I don't know, people like look up to you. You have a lot of influence. So
Mm.
kind of talk about like not even that. Let's just talk about like your adjustments that you had to make with life going into college. Like not even the wrestling side. Like you're moving away from home.
Mhm.
Uh, you're living with somebody you might not know, but I mean you know them probably a little bit before you get enter on campus. But like um, just the adjustments you had to make with life going into college.
Yeah, obviously it's a big adjustment coming from Ohio to Oklahoma. It's a different lifestyle, and the transition was hard, but it wasn't too hard because like I already knew a lot of the guys on the team. Like I knew Dustin Plott and the Master Giovanni's, Haas, Brissett, guys like that from being on like national teams when we were like back in middle school. But
Yeah.
like then I got to meet some of the other, like the two guys I live with right now. I did not know who know them until I got here last summer. But so like it's cool being able to build friends with people that you didn't know before, and just creating good friends and kind of going through it all together, because the two guys I live with now are Luke Meckler, he's from Wisconsin, and Cooper Birdle, he's from Montana. So like we're both guys that moved across the country to come to Oklahoma State and try to be the best.
Yeah. And so, along with that, so obviously high school wrestling and college wrestling has its big differences, but talk about just some of your key adjustments that you made on the wrestling side going into from high school into college.
Um, First thing is the mat game's a whole nother level. bottom and even top. Like when I first got here, I struggled big time on bottom against some of the better guys on the team, like Caden Jaffeller, Wyatt Sheets,
Yeah.
those guys. And even on top, even though I was successful in top in high school, I was still having trouble riding guys when I first got here because they got to learn the things on bottom that I hadn't that you need to be successful in college wrestling. So just that transition was just improving and trying to improve quickly on in those areas. And then on my feet, probably the biggest thing was being quicker on my finishes. Because like I was able to get to their guys' legs here, but finishing is like these guys are better at scrambling. They're stronger, heavier hips, everything. So you just need to keep your finishes clean and quick.
Yeah, and talking like looking at Oklahoma State, like the partners that you had wrestling, you wrestled 149 last year for your redshirt season. Uh, you know, like you could dip down, probably wrestle a Dayton Fix. I don't know, you know, and then you can go up, wrestle Sheets. You got Jafel there. You could probably wrestle Whitlake too, if like you guys have spar. So, you know, you're going in every single day and wrestling like complete savages, guys that like, and I think a lot of people that kind of like you know, certain people like that might turn them off and be like, dude, if I have to go in there every day and get my butt beat for 6 months straight, like, I don't know if I could take that. So I want you to talk about your mindset, knowing that like what you're getting yourself into every single day at practice, like you're wrestling with a bunch of savages and how you prepare yourself for every practice.
Yeah, like going into practice, I just try to have like a goal or something I want to work on for the day. Whether it's like if you're not doing a top round practice, it's I get out during the goes or I'm sealing off. Even if I don't get out, I'm sealing off. I'm resting while I keep moving. I don't just lay on my belly or on top. Try to ride the guy for as long as possible. Get turns if I can, and then on my feet, obviously do my best hand fighting and whatever I can. But when I have like the bad days where like, oh man, I kind of just got my butt kicked a little bit today. I just need to remind myself that it was one day. I need to come back tomorrow and just keep putting the work in.
Yeah.
If I keep putting the work in, things will improve.
Yeah, and so just like random question for me, are you journal? Do you have any like? Do you journal at all? Do you write down like wrestling, like your? Do you journal about your wrestling, or do you like journal about your life at all? Or are you more of just like a guy that's like, it's in my head, mental note, I keep it in my head, and then I know like, you know, like you know what I'm saying. Some people
Yeah.
might things they want to work on for practice, and then right before practice they look at it. Is that you?
Some in some aspects, yeah, in some aspects, no. Like most of the stuff I like tell myself I want to work on before practice is in my head. But like if we're learning like new techniques or something that I need to remember, I'll go down and I'll write those down in my phone for to look back at and be like, oh man, that's something I learned a few weeks ago that I should be working on. That I think I should
Yeah.
work on today.
Are you guys watching? Are you? It's like John Smith, like pulling out film from certain matches. Like maybe it's his old matches, or maybe it's like foreign guys that he likes. Do you guys have like film sessions at all? Like where you sit,
Um,
watch other wrestlers, and he breaks down stuff?
Not as a team, but I know with some of our individual coaches, like I know I worked with Zach Esposito a lot, Coach Esposito.
Uh,
I know he pulls up a lot of like foreign wrestlers to watch and like show us things from and watch film on them.
yeah, and so obviously you competed for a year already. You were a redshirt last year. I want you to talk about how you feel like your redshirt season went. You took one loss. It wasn't a bad season. The one loss was to Josh Feinsilver. It was a Josh. Yeah, it was in like so. To me, that's not a bad season, but maybe to you that's different. So I want to hear about your thoughts about your redshirt season, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Yeah, I thought my redshirt season went pretty well for my first year because I was able to
Huge.
go to a few opens, get some wins underneath my belt, then go to the scuffle and I got to wrestle some D1 guys there, which was nice, and get
Yeah.
some pretty decent wins there.
Mm-hmm.
And really, it was just kind of a way to like show my like in the first few opens, I got to be able to work my stuff and techniques I've been working on. Then like Lindenwood and the scuffle, which were against a little tougher guys, I got to kind of test myself and see where I stacked up in this new world of college wrestling that I'm in now.
Yeah, dude, you crushed it. I was at for you guys that don't know, I was at Lindenwood when Victor was there, and I actually interviewed him after, and that's how like I initially we first met. But I just want to say like you were crushing it at Lindenwood, and
Thank you.
it was like I was like, gosh dang, this guy is super high level, and I know who you were, but then I saw you wrestle, and I was like, wow, that dude is nails, and like Cole and True, there was a lot of good guys.
A lot of you guys there.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, talk about just a red shirt as a whole, and because a lot of guys, I feel like there's this thing in college wrestling, uh, and it's like this ego of like, no, I'm going in there, I'm starting right away, I'm going 4 years, like I'm not doing the stupid red shirt. At least in my experiences, and I've heard that like from guys that like plan on wrestling at big Division I schools, like I'm going there for 4 years. Talk about just the red shirt season and how one, it could either help you, or two, it could either hurt you.
Yeah, so obviously I redshirted, but when I came in here, my original plan was like what you're saying, like I wanted to come in and start right away.
Well, I wasn't saying that was because like a guy like you know, like you could do it. I was just wondering if
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
a big move by you or if that was because of an injury.
No,
I guess.
it was something I definitely wanted to do, but I was definitely up for what Coach Smith thought was the best for me, and
Uh-huh.
what he thought was the best for me was probably that little extra year to get improved, get stronger, just
Hmm.
mature a little bit more. But like I guess the hard thing with the red shirt is like you're not really in the lineup, so you're kind of just training basically for not you're not training for anything. So you need to keep in mind like the bigger picture, like you're not just training to wrestle at the tournament. You're training to just keep improving, getting better for the future and everything.
Uh-huh. And then I
Because
feel like
yeah, because that can sometimes hurt some guys because like they'll be like, oh, like there's no point for me to train hard because there's nothing for me to do. But you need to always be thinking to improve.
yeah, and I think like a guy like you, like I can look at it or like just like from the outsider's perspective, like I can look at a guy like you and be like, okay, he's not picking up any bad habits in his redshirt season. Like, there's no way this dude is. And he's probably using it to his advantage, right? You're not competing as much, so your body's not breaking down as much, probably. And you know, you guys had like a kind of a full lineup last year. Like, I see like wanted that, and plus, it's like, uh, you know, like it's your first year within college, and yeah, so I get that move, and but yeah, overall, I feel like red shirts can either kill or make a career, and you know, Carter Strachey, gray shirted. I'm pretty sure if I'm not wrong. But yeah. Anyways, moving off that, I want you to talk about Oklahoma State. So obviously, you guys didn't have the season you wanted last year, and I know that Coach Smith, watching interviews, Coach Smith was not impressed or he was not happy at all. And just as a team, it didn't seem like the morale was super high. So talk about changes that you guys have made. Maybe it's comes down from John Smith, like from top to bottom, or maybe you got your leaders like trying to change things within the program. Just talk about a couple changes that you guys made and how that's going to lead to your success this year.
Yeah, obviously, as you said, taking 14th as a team last year is not something that Oklahoma State Wrestling's proud of. Like
Yeah.
we have we have a super big history, and we want to come back and be on top of where we want to be. And I guess within the team, I feel like the team like morale is just a lot higher at practice every day. We're all talking to each other, having fun. But when it comes down to practice, we're getting down to business. I feel like we just been doing a lot more like extra things on our own as a team, putting the work in because we know we know what it takes, and our coaches know more than we know what it takes to be a national champ. So they're telling us what we should be doing to become a national champ, putting the work in. Coach Smith's been picking up on things that he said that we need to work on for this season that he saw last season. So I feel like as a team as a whole, we're just putting that work in this year, and we're going to be ready for a good season.
Okay, and then talk about John Smith as like away from the wrestling side. I want you to talk about John Smith as like a motivational leader because as a head coach, like you have to be more than just a good wrestling mind.
Mm-hmm.
Be like a businessman with donors and all that stuff, and then you also have to be like you got to be able to motivate your guys. You got to be able to pick up your guys. So I want you just to talk about like John Smith's influence on you guys, and how like just about like his kind of leadership. Like what forms of leadership do you think John Smith possesses that like really help out the program very well?
Yeah, obviously the first thing is he's obviously knows what it takes to win.
Mm-hmm.
So all of us know that. So we listen to him because we're like we want to be where he was at, and obviously he went there, so he knows what it takes. But on top of that, I think he knows how to like how he needs to motivate each one of us individually based off of like how our personalities are. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
like he knows he every one of us he'll be hard on a lot sometimes, but then he also knows when like to kind of pick you up a little bit in practice too and be like, oh, good job there. But when it comes down to business, he'll get down to business and be like, "Come on, like you need to do something. You need to put the work in."
Yeah, so he's really holding you guys accountable for like everything you guys are doing. I'm sure he can see through the BS by now, you know.
For
So,
sure. Yeah, for sure.
so go ahead, and like the last question I kind of have within the program and kind of on the podcast too is just are you guys doing like are you individually doing stuff with John a lot, or is he more of just like the group guy, and then like the assistant coaches are breaking down, and like you might meet with us like one of your assistants more times than like you meet with John like individually? Is that kind of how you guys like roll? Like you're doing individuals with the assistants, and then um, when you get to reg practices, like Coach Smith, like
Mhm. Yeah, we'll do individual work with like our individual coaches, like Tyler Caldwell, Perry Esposito, but then Coach Smith runs practice every day for the most part.
yeah,
And so he's basically like kind of like the head of it. But then we do individual work. But he will also do some individual work with a lot of us too as well. Like
yeah,
either before practice, after practice, or whatever, he'll work individually with a lot of us.
cool. But yeah, Victor, thanks for coming on, bro. If, actually, there's not too many people in here, so we probably won't get any questions. But thank you so much for coming on. If you guys didn't tune into the full thing, it's gonna be on YouTube. I'm gonna clip it up. Victor Voinovich, two-time state champ. Are you wrestling 49 this season?
Yeah, I'll be 49.
Yeah, this dude has so many accolades. I can't go through all the accolades. But yeah, Victor Voinovich, Oklahoma State's 149-pounder, maybe future All-American, probably future All-American this year.
Yeah.
Luck, bro. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, talk soon. Thank you.
Later, bro. Yep.
Yeah.